Welcome into Walk the Line. I'm your host, OG Chris Murray, bringing you episode 2 of Walk the Line. Now, week 1, I finished off 10-6 with my picks. This week I'm looking to do better. So let's dive right into it. First off, we have HB30 and the Baltimore Ravens versus the big homie and the Cincinnati Bengals in a divisional matchup. Last week was exactly what we expected with the Baltimore Ravens. Action Jackson with a lot of play action. This week, I see the same thing occurring. I don't see the Cincinnati Bengals figuring out a way how to slow down Action Jackson. And the thing about the Bengals is they're a good team, but they have to figure out how to get the offensive weapons involved. If they can figure out how to do that, get AJ Green going, get John Ross going, get Mixon going, and somehow figure out also how to take care of the ball, this could be actually a tough game for HB30. But this is the season, and when it compares to stick skills, I just don't see the big homie matching up toe-to-toe with HB30 and the Baltimore Ravens. And this week, my first pick will have to be the Baltimore Ravens taking the W over the big homie and the Cincinnati Bengals. Moving on to the second game, we have C. Robin, the Carolina Panthers versus Nasty Noop and the Atlanta Falcons. Now, these are two guys that know each other game style very, very well. Last week, both of these teams struggled offensively, and both of these teams did not take care of the ball at all on the offensive side of the ball. They turned it over a lot, and they was not able to execute their offensive game plan. They came out on the offensive side of the ball and they struggled. Now, both of these teams have a lot of explosive weapons on the offensive side of the ball. This game is going to come down to who can figure out how to get their offense clicking fast. And in this game, my meter is leaning to Nasty Noop and Atlanta Falcons, just off the fact that Carolina, in my opinion, don't have no wide receivers that can make explosive plays, that get them in position as far as the red zone to put the team in position to score the ball. You know, it's a lot of Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey, and Greg Olsen. But outside of that, I don't really see any type of threat on the offense out there in Carolina. So I'm going to have to take Nasty Noop and the Atlanta Falcons getting a W week 2. Okay, next up we have Marizi and the Indianapolis Colts versus under 2 rated and the Washington Redskins. Now, number most importantly, this game is nominated for the shit bowl game. We have one user who got a forced W that we couldn't even see anything from him. You know, then we have on the other side we have another user that could not stop nothing, meaning his defense couldn't stop shit. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't stop the pass. And on the offensive side of the ball, they only had one red zone trip out of the entire game. Washington, I'm telling you right now, I don't know if you guys are packing it up and already planning for the offseason, but y'all got to get it together out there in Washington. But I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt in this game, and I think this will be a bounce back game for under 2 rated and the Washington Redskins getting the W over Marizi and the Indianapolis Colts in week 2. Next up, we have SJ and the Houston Texans versus the Tennessee Darkness and the Tennessee Titans. Now, SJ came out last week and did exactly what I predicted him to do: get an easy W over Dashmere and the New England Patriots. But that win wasn't so easy for SJ. He turned the ball over, and if I was to tell you people right now that he won the game with DeAndre Hopkins being held to a total of 8 yards, J.J. Watt, no sacks, Clowney, no sacks, and he still got a W over the Patriots, would you believe me? I know a lot of you guys are thinking, hell no, I wouldn't believe you. But he did. He figured out somehow, some way, how to escape out of New England with the W. SJ, some free chicken. You got to get these guys going. You have to get these guys going if you plan on being in the race for the banner at the end of the season. You have to get these guys going. Now you're going up against a good, on paper, Tennessee Titan team. But this team did not show me anything last week. You know, turned the ball over. Offense in the red zone, couldn't produce points. Couldn't convert on third downs. This team has so much talent. You know, but he did go up against a top tier user last week. So this week is pretty much the same thing. He's going up against a top user in the DML. So it's not like it's going to be a cakewalk. Darkness, you have to figure out how to convert points off of your drives. You cannot come out constantly punting, or interception. You have to learn how to be patient. Take what the defense gives you and produce points. But my pick for this game will have to be SJ coming out, getting a W over the Tennessee Titans. Next up, we have Matty Ice and the Philadelphia Eagles versus T-Pain and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, I picked against Matty last week, and Matty came out like he was playing with a chip on his shoulder. He dismantled the Atlanta Falcons. Wentz had an awesome game. Alshon Jeffrey, an awesome game. He showed that his name is Matty Ice, and I'm a top tier user in the DML for a reason. Now, this week he's going up against a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that, in my opinion, got to figure things out there in Tampa. You know, they don't have no sort of identity yet, either on the offensive side of the ball or on the defensive side of the ball. You know, like I said, I don't know what's going on out there in Tampa. You know, partying a little bit too much. I don't know what's going on. But this week, I don't see them getting the job done against the Philadelphia Eagles. My pick for this game will have to be Matty Ice taking the W over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Next up, we have KP and the Kansas City Chiefs versus Flair and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, Chiefs came out last week in a toe-to-toe battle with division mate, and he came out with a game plan and he executed. You know, this is one of those guys that is going to come out and make you think outside of the box. He's going to take you out of your game. He's going to take things away from you that you have been probably practicing and labbing all off season with. He's going to take that away and make you think. Flair last week against the Cleveland Browns, I don't know what game plan he put together, but it did not involve Antonio Brown. Use the weapons, man, that man has blessed you with. You have one of the, on paper, top 5 offenses. Use them weapons, man. Don't be scared. You have Antonio Brown. Let Madden bless you, man. Let Madden bless you and let AB be AB, baby. You gotta figure it out. You said that you had to figure it out, but I don't really think you did. In this game, man, I don't see you figuring it out. This is a tough matchup for you. I had the Kansas City Chiefs coming out and steamrolling over on Flair and those Pittsburgh Steelers. Next up, we have tight work in the Miami Dolphins versus Ness and the New York Jets. Okay, now, like I told y'all last week, if y'all think that tight work is going to be or fall off of his square, he's mind fucking y'all. He's mind fucking y'all. He's mind fucking y'all. Y'all have to understand that he is a user that is going to pretty much, basically, he's going to be one of those users that's going to be always in the race for a banner every single season, no matter what team he has. Then like I told y'all last week, this is the same exact Dolphins team from last season when he won 2 banners back to back. Now he's missing a couple pieces. But like I said, this is the season. It comes down to stick skills. We don't have no rooms for no excuses. And this is a user right here that is going to come out and show you why he has 2 banners in the Dynasty. On the other side, you have Ness, who, in my eyes, last week fell into his offensive flow late in the game. He has to figure out in this week's matchup against Tyreek how to get that offense going very fast. He cannot come out and figure things out in the third quarter, the fourth quarter. Or I'm telling you, Tyreek is going to blow the hinges off of his doors. I'm telling you that right now. Ness have to figure out how to get his offense going and get it going fast. This is going to be a good matchup. But I don't think that, matter of fact, I think in this matchup, being so that Ness is going against a two-time Super Bowl winner in the DML, he got a little bit more in his game this week. So I'm putting my chips all on the table. I'm taking Ness and the New York Jets for the upset pick over Tyreek and the Miami Dolphins. Okay, next up we had Eddie Forrest and the Los Angeles Chargers versus Skill Trade and the Buffalo Bills. Last week, the Chargers went up against a very tough divisional mate, and that game could have went either way. The Chargers didn't play a good game. They came out, had a well-balanced offense. They ran the ball well. They passed the ball well. The downfall in that game was they could not stop turning the ball over. This is a no-brainer. This will be his bounce-back week, getting a W over the Buffalo Bills. Next up, we have Hamilton and the Minnesota Vikings versus Mo Booker and the Green Bay Packers. Okay, Hamilton was my upset pick of last week's game versus the 49ers, and he came out, and all I can say is that defense balled out. That defense came to play just like we know them to play. I'm telling you that right now. This week, I see that defense doing the same exact thing, coming out, shutting down the Green Bay Packers, and taking the W and moving to 2-0 heading into week 3. Next up, we have my Cleveland Browns versus 85 and the New Orleans Saints. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Saints. The Saints is the team that their GM, their coach, their owner, all are on the same page. I'm telling you right now, take this free chicken. Addy is one of those users where he's going to, I'm not going to say allow you. His defensive game plan kicks in once you are in the red zone. If you cannot figure out how to produce points when you're given the opportunity to be in the red zone, you're going to lose against him every single time. Now, my Cleveland Browns, my young Cleveland Browns are coming off of a game where we knew what we want to do. We put those paws all over the Pittsburgh Steelers. This week right here, my young guys are going to be tested again. And from what it seems like in practice and what I'm hearing, they're ready for the test. Of course, I'm not never going to pick against myself. I'm going to have to take my Cleveland Browns over the New Orleans Saints. Next up, we have Taz and the Detroit Lions versus Sweets 99 and San Francisco 49ers. Last week, for some reason, after watching Taz in the game of the week, it seemed like he was playing too conservative. He was scared to take I'm not going to say scared, but I don't know what was going on, but he wasn't taking as many shots down the field of what I expected him to do. He was taking a lot of short routes and not actually testing that New York Jets defense, not testing that secondary, and that cost him the game, I believe. You know, that was a couple mistakes, a couple errors that the quarterback made, but in my opinion, he was playing too conservative on the offensive side of the ball and not taking those shots or, making the guy come out and respect your offensive game plan. If you're coming out and every single play you're checking it down to a tight end or checking it down to a running back, a guy, that's not making a guy actually have to worry about things of your offense, So this week he's going up against another user that struggled offensively. So I think this game is really going to come down to who has the balls to take those shots and not be scared. Let's put it like that. Who's going to come out and say it with their chest this game and take those deep shots down the field, you know, and not be afraid of throwing the IT? You know, now, like I mentioned before, this is the season. And I think this game, this is going to be a crazy pick. I'm taking Taz and the Detroit Lions over the San Francisco 49ers getting a bounce back W. Next up, we have Guwap and the Arizona Cardinals versus King Vitamin and the Los Angeles Rams. Now, last week we didn't get to see too much of the Rams because, you know, they wasn't televised, but we got to see the Arizona Cardinals, and that team looked very, very, very dangerous. The offense could not do anything wrong. They ran for over 100 plus yards, passed for over 200 plus yards. They couldn't do anything wrong. Now this week he's going up against a better defense that are going to make that young quarterback make tough decisions. If he can come out this week with the same game plan that he came out last week with and execute it, I can see him leaving Los Angeles heading into week 2 with a W. But I don't think King Vitamin is going to allow that. I think King Vitamin and that front nasty four are going to shut down the Arizona Cardinals and take the W over Guwap and those Cardinals and head into week 3 2-0. Next up, we have Dashmere and the New England Patriots versus Expert and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not even going to spend no time on this pick. Jacksonville coming out, blowing the New England Patriots the hell out by at least 15 points. Next up, we have Tone Dog versus JB and the Denver Broncos. Now, this is a game. We're gonna want to just talk about the Denver Broncos on this game right here. The Denver Broncos defense has to figure out how to get some identity. Meaning, like last week, they struggled. They struggled very bad. You know, the offense came out and the offense played okay, but the defense, man, just couldn't get anything going. Like, you know, they couldn't get anything going against a Seattle Seahawks team that's pretty much, in my eyes, is a rebuilding team. But they couldn't get anything going, man. They just came out and they was out there playing flat-footed and they just got demolished. You know, but this is a team right here that I stated in week 1 that's going to come out and play tough every week, no matter, you know, how many points he get beat by in the previous week. He's going to erase that memory and come out with a new game plan. So Tone has to come out and execute, you know, because like I said, JB is one of those users that can take a beating and bounce back next week. So if Tone does not come out and has a solid game plan and execute, you know, his game plan, he will be taking the L. But I don't see that this week. I see the Oakland Raiders coming out, running the ball a lot with Marshawn Lynch, getting Amari Cooper going, and getting a W over JB and the Denver Broncos. Next up, we have Westside Pablo, the New York Giants versus HBO and the Dallas Cowboys. Now, surprisingly, HBO came out with a W week 1. You know, this game is going to just, well, dang, my fault. Saquon is actually suspended this game. So the Giants is going to have to figure out how to get a run game going, because we already know that, you know, they can pass. But if you don't have a run game going to balance out your game plan, a guy could just come back, go out there and just drop his guys in the coverage, have you force that rock, cause interceptions. So I think Westside Pablo, even though that Saquon is suspended and is being set down for this game, he has to figure out how to get his run game going to at least balance out the field so that way HBO is just not coming out game planning against the pass. Now, HBO on the other hand, he ran the rock very well in week 1, which we expected in Dallas. You know, they have the all-star offensive line, and they have Zeke in the backfield. But the wide receiver core is trash. You know, they're trash. Now, this game can go either way. But I just think that Dallas just has too many offensive weapons. You know, they have Ingram, Odell Beckham, Shepard. They have a nice group of guys out there that I don't think that the Dallas Cowboys secondary can cover. So I'm going to have to take Westside Pablo taking the W over HBO and the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, last game of the week we have Houdini and the Seattle Seahawks versus the Bus and the Chicago Bears. And if y'all don't know by now, I'm telling y'all right now, DML users, y'all better wake up. The Bus is for real. I don't know what's going on out there in Chicago. I don't know if the Bounty Gate is out there, but them dudes is coming out and they hitting hard. They hitting hard. Every hit, every tackle in that game last week, it felt like they was trying to put a player to sleep. And they caused so much havoc on the defensive side of the ball, man, that is just ridiculous. So Houdini played a good game last week, but I think he's going to have to bring a lot more to the table this week, man, and figure out, because he's going to the Chi-Town. So he's going to have to figure out, one, I'm telling you, practice all this week on telling you guys how to take a hit, because they're going to come and they home too. Don't drink none of that water out there. Bring your own Gatorade. Don't take their Gatorade, because I'm telling you, man, listen. Alright, just listen to what I'm telling you, man. You better strap up, because them boys is coming. You know, you have to bring a little. You played a good game, a well executed game, week 1, but week 2 in this matchup, we need a lot more. I'm telling you, gotta put your big boy pants on. But in this game, man, I can't see it. You know, not now, not in the future. I cannot see the Seattle Seahawks taking the W over the Bus and the Bears in Chicago. So I'm going to take the Bears taking it week 2 over the Seattle Seahawks, heading into week 3, 2-0. Those are my picks for this week. Drop a comment. You know, bringing the show to you every advance. Make sure you tune in. You know, keep up the level of competition. You know, it's the season, baby. You know, so let's keep it going. I'm out.